College is a stressful time for most individuals, and often, to cope with stress, bad habits or addictions can be formed or worsened. Starting a hobby that helps to relax is a great tool for anyone to have. Hobbies have been shown to improve mental health and reduce stress. By encouraging socialization and improving overall mood, hobbies can ward off depression. Regular mind challenges, such as hobbies connect and puzzles, can increase memory retention and prevent memory loss, as stated by Return to Wellness. As a hobby, crafting and artwork provides a creative outlet that almost anyone is capable of doing. Acrylic painting is an affordable, easily accessible hobby with several applications. When starting to paint, it's helpful to understand the medium and how it differs from others. Watercolor and oil paints are often considered opposites, while acrylics often are referred to as middle ground between the two. Watercolor paint is capable of naturally creating transparency and is quick drying. Being water-soluble, watercolors allow for changes to be made even after the paint has dried. Exceedingly inexpensive, watercolors offer yards of coverage from a single tube of paint. Watercolors work by staining their paper, so if fully dried and an area becomes too dark, the pigment can be fully lifted. To clarify, the color can't be erased from the paper. But the artist can continue to blend or lighten the color when using this medium. Techniques for watercolors seem simple in theory, but can take years to master because a single drop of water can erase hours of detailed work. Along with an extra learning curve, watercolors are similar to pastels, as discussed in the slideshow, and that they need extra protection to preserve the artwork because paper is a less permanent surface material than canvas, and to prevent the paint from fading, this protection is needed. Oils, on the other hand, have the best capabilities for demonstrating the contrast between lights and darks. As well, they have great detail work. Layers of paint are added so that light reflects through them, creating an appearance of depth and luminosity. Oil is a durable medium that will last for generations and is known for its permanence. Because of this permanence, however, oil paints are the most expensive on the market and require paint thinners in order to clean up after, which can be toxic. As well as the toxins, oil paints can take up between 6 months or a full year to dry, allowing for debris or smudging to occur if not carefully protected. Acrylics work as a nice middle ground between these two extremes and are great for a novice because of their ability to capture detail as well as not require months to dry. Knowing how mediums differ is useful, but being able to put them to use is another great thing. Before you start painting, it's good to know what canvases you can use, the materials needed, and how to achieve your desired consistency. The acrylic paint is favorable in that it can be used on a variety of canvases, as long as the canvas isn't exceedingly greasy or glossy. Types of canvases capable of being used with acrylics can be separated into those that can be directly painted on and those needing extra preparation before painting. Watercolor paper and traditional painting canvas boards are the most common of materials used with acrylics because no extra preparation is required. Paper is recommended with thinner paint, while canvas board is often used with thicker paint. As discussed in my slides, hardwood, hardboard, and fiberboard are also capable of being used as long as canvas primer is applied to allow for paint to stick. The only materials that acrylics are unable to be used with are shiny or greasy surfaces. Shiny surfaces aren't recommended as acrylic paints requires a surface that permits gripping, or or the paint can be easily peeled off. Plastic and metals are capable of being used if sandpaper roughens the surface to add a tooth to it. Greasy surfaces, on the other hand, such as wax paper or papers primed with oil paints, prevent acrylics from binding, and the paint will eventually come off. To get started, you'll want to gather your materials and keep in mind the range of techniques you'll use. To paint, you may think you need a brush and a board, but to create a variety of visual effects, a bit more is needed. The number one tool for acrylic and watercolor paint is, of course, water. Water can be used in multiple ways, but it is necessary to thin paint and keep acrylics from drying when in use. Along with paint, a palette knife, sponge, and sampling paper are useful tools. While not a necessity, if a palette is at hand, sampling paper allows your paint to be viewed on a similar material to the canvas to see if the color is correct before adding, as well as helping to clean a brush before applying a new color. Once all the right tools are gathered, knowing what the tools are capable of is important. A basic brush can be used to create pigment-rich, uneven lines by dry brushing, meaning to paint without the aid of water, or to make washes by diluting the paint in water as well. A basic brush, or a slightly rounded brush, is great for stippling, or a technique that uses dots to fill an area. Aside from brushes, detailing, dabbing, splattering, and the use of a palette knife help create different looks. Detailing and splattering use specific brushes to create their designated looks, while dabbing uses a sponge and a palette knife adds a painterly thick layers to the canvas. In addition, an artist can change the consistency of acrylics to be closer to an oil or watercolor. Thinners can allow for easy cleanup or change the paint consistency. Often water is all that's needed to thin acrylics and clean up, but old paint can take forever to clean off of a palette, and thinners speed this process up, as well as making cleaning easier. Paint thinners can produce a fluid texture without the need of adding copious amounts of water. Thickeners can make acrylics closer to oil paint texture and can allow an artist to add texture or sculptural elements, such as this. Painting is an easy-to-learn activity that almost anyone can do. While watercolor and oil paints offer unique looks, acrylic paint is a great entry point for novices into the world of art. Acrylics allow for a variety of techniques to be explored, and once you know the tools and techniques of acrylic painting, you'll have a fulfilling hobby that can last a lifetime of happy little trees. Thank you for watching.